who's one of the hardest longtime veterans or current players that you would consider trading?
So this is actually where I invoked Taron Johnson as a post June 1st trade. It's hard to find good corners in the NFL. There are plenty of teams that don't have one corner as good as Taron Johnson. I was just looking at like the Raiders depth chart. Their current starting nickel corner is a gentleman named Greedy Vance, who was an undrafted free agent this past year. So where the Bills might not see a lot of value in Taron Johnson, where they are at their team building stage, other teams that have a lot of cap space and need a lot of high floor players could see some value in Taron Johnson.
I like it. Chris, how about you? Any names we either haven't touched on or that you would have repurposed in this category?
No, I think what Colin said made a ton of sense with Taron Johnson to kind of repurpose it that way, that he could technically be a trade candidate, and there's some logic behind that.
Yeah, I mean, like Sal was saying, sometimes it's a matter of not wanting to be too good at the job you don't want, right? Like Alec Anderson, extremely versatile, and you lose a versatile piece like that if he becomes a starter. But at the same time, especially when you have Josh Allen under center, you want to put the 5 best guys out there to protect him. That's the number one priority. And right now it's looking like Alec Anderson is going to be one of those 5 guys, assuming that Connor McGovern and David Edwards depart in free agency. And so pairing him with who's likely another Bills red guy and Spencer Brown on the offensive line. Now you've got 2 of those edge guys, 2 of those nasty guys to go along with some more of the Bills blue finesse guys like Deion Dawkins.
Great point, man. Great point. All right, Colin, get out of here. Get to work. Appreciate you pinch hitting for Sal for a little bit for us.
Yeah, thank you.
All of the hard work you do behind the scenes for us, and also Cover One Buffalo and your appearances on there each and every week. So take it easy, brother. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, guys.
So my game ball would definitely go to Greg Rousseau.
Yeah, he had the 2.5 sacks. He also had the would-be sack on the Shedeur Sanders intentional grounding that sent him back to the 1. Yeah. So like you said, and that's been Rousseau's game all season, and even in previous seasons, it's making plays that don't show up in the stat sheet, whether it's fitting the run, making sure you're not losing contain, or getting pressure on the quarterback, forcing them to step up, and then Ed Oliver collects a sack or Daquan Jones collects a sack. It's the plays that go unnoticed and aren't recorded in the box score. And then when you go back and look at his stats at the end of the year, you think, oh, he had a quiet season. But if you're really watching week by week, game by game, you're seeing he's making more of an impact than the stats may lead you to believe. Went down the Wisconsin rabbit hole a little. A guy that played under Jim Leonhard from 2017 to 2018 at Wisconsin. Also plays for the team with the 2nd or 3rd least available cap space in the NFL this year, which is the Minnesota Vikings, who have a fired GM and the emergence of a first-round edge rusher in Dallas Turner. I'd love to trade for Andrew Van Ginkel. He's a starting caliber 3-4 edge. A post June 1st trade, the Vikings saved $16 million, $3.4 million in dead cap in 2026, 8.8 dead cap in 2027. He currently has a cap hit of 19.4 million, which obviously is a lot with Greg Rousseau's contract as well. But he is a UFA in 2027, so we could extend him and then lower his cap hit. He is going into his age 31 season, so obviously it's not going to be a 4 or 5 year extension.
Love that. It's the first name that's come up tonight that I did not have on my list. I love that. That's really interesting.
I beat Greg in the salary cap.
You got it. Yeah, you listed a name I did not have on my list.
I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so when we prep for these pregame shows, Greg and Aaron and I love to ask the questions like, how is the other team going to try to beat the Bills, and then vice versa? And so when I'm looking at the Bills from the Steelers' point of view, I'm seeing a defense with undersized linebackers, defensive tackles that aren't making an impact, and a team that is in nickel more often than they're not. Meanwhile, the Steelers have 3 tight ends that they deploy all the time, a power rushing scheme. Is that how you see the Steelers defeating the Bills in this one? Is they stick to those 3 tight end sets with Freiermuth and Washington and Hayward and Jonnu Smith in there as well, and just pound the rock with only 1 wide receiver on the field? More games this season, James Cook has been Buffalo's best offensive player than Josh Allen. Now, when Josh Allen is Buffalo's best offensive player, it's some truly special performances like we saw in Cincinnati or Kansas City or Baltimore or Tampa Bay. And so the highs are much higher for Allen, but the consistency sides with Cook. And in more games than not, he's been their most reliable, most dependable, best offensive player. So if I had a vote, it pains me to say as a Bills fan, I would not vote for Josh Allen for MVP this year. I think he had an argument in 2023 and in 2024. I don't like the argument for him this year. And you can still make the argument. He has the stats to back it up. So right now, I think the MVP is Matthew Stafford.
Colin, where is your head at on your dream offensive targets?
So I went with wide receiver for my dream free agent signing and my dream trade target. Both of them were already mentioned. It was Romeo Doubs and Chris Olave. I joke with my brother a lot that the Packers built the everybody eats offense that the Bills wanted to have, where they have a couple mid tier like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3s, with the passing game focused around a tight end like Tucker Kraft, or in the Bills' case, Dalton Kincaid. So it'd be ironic if the Bills end up stealing Romeo Doubs from that. Yeah, well, we talk about the Bills' defensive adjustments going into the second half basically every week, but you have to give credit to Cleveland and the defensive adjustments they made. Like you said, we had Cook at 9 carries for 100 yards going into the second half, and he had 7 more carries for just 17 yards in the second half. So credit to Cleveland's defense for taking Cook basically out of Buffalo's offense in the second half. And you saw the Bills try to utilize him in the passing game a little bit more as a result. He dropped that first play action bootleg, but was able to catch the second one. So I like that pivot by Joe Brady. If, the run game wasn't working, still trying to get the ball into your best skill players' hands to make plays in the open field.
I love your point about the halftime adjustments that they made, because we talk about this a lot lately with this Bills team being a second half team, and honestly I think they've also made some really good adjustments defensively in that second half.
But on the flip side, it's a great chance for guys maybe projected to go in the 5th or 6th round, boost their draft stock, make more of a name for themselves. A guy like Red Murdoch from UB, who gets a combine invite after Joe Andreessen and Sean Dolack don't. Red Murdoch not only making a bigger name for himself, but a bigger name for the football program at University of Buffalo as well. But I believe this 4th down play call was the same formation as the Ty Johnson run that iced the game against New England last week. I believe they were in, if not the same formation, a similar formation, and Allen almost fakes the quick handoff to Ty Johnson and rolls out right. And so I thought that was a perfect play call. Because that's how you iced the game last week. And here you are in a situation to ice the game again. And you line up in what looks like the exact same play and then go the complete opposite direction and scheme a guy wide open for what should have been the game sealing touchdown. I thought this was an amazing call by Joe Brady. And unfortunately, Knox couldn't haul it in. And that ruins what would have been a more digestible win for the Bills if they end up winning by 10 instead of 3.